Ready for a deep dive into something pretty serious?
Oh, yeah.
We're tackling Delhi's air pollution today.
Right.
And, I always thought it was just like one of those smoggy city problems.
Yeah.
But the research we've got here, it shows a much more complex picture.
Of course.
One that affects the daily lives of millions of people.
Absolutely.
So are you ready to get a little mind blown by the facts and understand what we can do about it?
I'm ready.
Awesome. Well, let's start with the basics.
Okay.
How bad is the pollution in Delhi?
Well, it's considered one of the most polluted cities worldwide.
Really?
Yeah, and it's not just one thing. It's a really unfortunate combination of natural factors and human activities.
Okay, so human activities meaning like us.
Exactly.
So let's unpack that a little bit.
Okay.
I was looking through the research, and I have to admit, I was surprised by all the different things that are contributing to the problem.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is. So what are some of those?
Well, it's way more than just cars and factories.
Right.
Although those are definitely major players.
I would imagine.
For instance, Delhi has over 11 million registered vehicles.
11 million.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't even imagine that many cars in one place.
It's one of the most congested cities on the planet.
Right.
And that reliance on older vehicles, plus a public transport system,
Yeah.
that's struggling to keep up.
Yeah.
Well, it all adds to the problem.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And you mentioned industries, which I guess that's not a huge surprise, but I'm guessing it's not just industries in Delhi.
You got it.
But tell me about that.
Industries in nearby cities, like Ghaziabad and Faridabad,
Okay.
they're part of the problem too.
Really?
They release a lot of pollutants, like sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides.
Oh, wow.
And those can drift right over to Delhi.
So it's almost like this cloud of pollution spreading from city to city.
Exactly.
Wow.
And then we have construction,
Right.
which is a big factor in any rapidly growing city.
Well, Delhi is booming, so I can see how that would be an issue.
It generates massive amounts of dust, fine particles that become part of the city's air pollution,
Yeah.
especially if the construction sites aren't well regulated.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So it's not just the big obvious things.
No.
There's something else I found in the research that was really interesting, and honestly, something I had never even considered before.
What's that?
It's called stubble burning.
Ah, yes, stubble burning.
Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, this one might be new for some of our listeners.
Right.
It's common in the agricultural areas around Delhi,
Okay.
like Punjab and Haryana.
Okay.
After the rice harvest, farmers burn the leftover straw, or stubble, to clear the fields for the next crop.
Oh, that sounds incredibly smoky.
It is.
Yeah.
It releases tons of smoke and particulate matter into the air.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And with Delhi being so close, I'm assuming the wind just carries all that smoke right into the city?
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
So even though it's happening outside of Delhi, it has a direct impact on the city's air, especially during certain times of the year.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've got vehicles, industries, construction, agricultural, burning.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we're missing?
We can't forget about household emissions.
Okay.
Even in a mega city like Delhi,
Yeah.
a lot of people still rely on things like wood, cow dung, and coal for cooking and heating.
It's hard to believe that could have a big impact in a city that large.
It might seem small scale,
Yeah.
but collectively it does contribute to the air pollution problem,
Okay.
especially in the colder months.
Wow. So you've got all these different sources,
Mm-hmm.
and then you factor in Delhi's geography and climate.
Right.
It sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Well, it's definitely not helping.
Mhm.
Delhi's located in this low-lying basin
Okay.
called the Indo-Gangetic Plain,
Okay.
and it basically acts like a trap for pollutants.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
So that would make things worse. I can see how that would happen.
Yeah.
What about the climate? How does that play into it?
During the winter, there's this phenomenon called temperature inversion.
Okay.
Imagine a lid being placed over Delhi.
A lid.
Yeah, that's essentially what a temperature inversion does.
Oh, wow.
It traps cooler air near the ground
Oh.
under a layer of warm air,
Okay.
and it prevents the pollutants from dispersing, making the air quality much, much worse.
It sounds like a perfect storm, but in a bad way.
It is, definitely.
So we've talked a lot about the causes.
Yeah.
But what I'm really interested in is how all of this affects people's lives.
Sure.
I mean, it's one thing to talk about air pollution in the abstract,
Right.
but this is about real people dealing with the consequences every single day.
Yeah.
So what are some of those consequences?
They're serious.
Yeah.
We're talking about increased rates of respiratory illnesses like asthma,
Right.
more heart problems,
Oh, wow.
weakened immune systems,
Wow.
and even premature deaths.
It's scary.
It is a serious health hazard.
Yeah, and I know I saw in here that a recent study estimated that air pollution cost Delhi's economy over $10 billion annually.
Yes, that's right.
$10 billion.
Yeah, it's equivalent to losing 5% of its GDP.
Oh my gosh.
So it's not just an environmental problem.
Right.
It's an economic one, too.
It really brings home the point that this isn't just some...
Making them much more susceptible to the harmful effects of air pollution.
So what are some of those effects?
Studies have shown a link between exposure to pollutants and developmental issues.
Really?
Reduced lung function and even lower IQ scores.
Wow, that's awful.
And parents are constantly worrying about their children's health.
Of course.
Children miss out on playing with friends,
Right.
enjoying their childhood.
Yeah, it's almost too much to think about.
It is.
So on top of the health problems,
Yeah.
there's the way that this pollution disrupts everyday life. Can you give us some examples of that?
Absolutely. So that thick smog reduces visibility,
Okay.
which leads to more traffic accidents and transportation disruptions.
Wow.
Schools are frequently shut down.
Oh my God.
Outdoor activities become impossible,
Wow.
and even social gatherings are affected.
It impacts every aspect of life in the city.
It does.
I can't even imagine not being able to safely take my kids to the park.
Yeah.
Or having to keep them cooped up inside all the time. Because the air is so bad,
It's tough.
it really puts things in perspective.
It does.
We're talking about basic quality of life being compromised,
Mhm.
and it goes way beyond just individual suffering.
Right.
So let's connect this to the bigger picture.
Okay.
What are some of the wider consequences we're seeing because of Delhi's air pollution?
Environmentally, the pollution impacts vegetation, biodiversity, and water bodies.
Oh, wow.
For example, acid rain
Yeah.
caused by harmful emissions can damage soil and ecosystems.
That's a good point. Acid rain isn't just something from a science textbook.
Exactly.
It's a real problem that affects people's lives and the environment.
Yes.
And economically, the costs are staggering.
Yes.
Just think about the healthcare expenses for treating pollution-related illnesses.
Right.
I imagine that's incredibly expensive.
It is.
Yeah.
Plus, there's lost productivity
Yeah.
due to sick days and the inability to work effectively.
Right.
And tourism, a major industry for Delhi, also suffers.
Oh,
Visitors are deterred by that hazardous air quality.
wow. The ripple effects are huge.
They are.
It's clear that this is a complex issue
Definitely.
with far-reaching consequences.
Yeah,
But amidst all this, is
Mhm.
there any hope?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Are there solutions that can actually make a difference?
absolutely.
Okay, I'm definitely ready to hear about some solutions now.
Okay.
Let's dive into what can be done to turn things around.
Right.
What are some of the most promising approaches?
One of the most crucial steps is transitioning to clean energy sources.
Okay.
Reducing our dependence on fossil fuels and embracing solar and wind power is essential.
Right.
We need to incentivize the adoption of these clean technologies,
Yeah.
both in homes and in industries.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
And speaking of reducing emissions, electric vehicles seem to be playing a bigger and bigger role in addressing air pollution.
Exactly. Promoting the use of electric vehicles and developing the necessary infrastructure,
Right.
like charging stations, can dramatically reduce emissions from transportation.
Okay.
Government incentives and policies
Right.
are key to accelerating this shift.
What about that agricultural burning we talked about earlier?
Yes,
It seems like such a widespread practice.
it is.
What can be done to address that?
We need sustainable agricultural practices.
Okay.
Working with farmers to find alternatives to stubble burning is critical.
Okay.
This could involve providing financial incentives,
Okay.
promoting the use of machinery for crop residue management,
Okay.
and educating farmers about more sustainable farming techniques.
So it's about finding solutions that work for everyone,
Right.
including the farmers who are just trying to make a living.
Exactly.
What about urban planning? Does that play a role in all of this?
Absolutely. Thoughtful urban planning can make a big difference.
Okay.
Incorporating green spaces and trees into city designs
Right.
can help absorb pollutants,
Okay.
improve air quality.
It's amazing how something as simple as planting trees can have a positive impact.
You really can.
Yeah.
Reforestation efforts are critical too.
But even with all these solutions, it seems like we also need regulations
Yes.
to enforce change, right?
You're absolutely right. Strong regulations are essential.
Okay.
We need stricter enforcement of environmental laws
Right.
and tougher penalties for industries and construction sites that violate pollution standards.
So there's a lot that can be done,
There is.
but it requires this multifaceted... Great. To our final segment,
Okay.
where we'll explore what you, our listeners, can do to make a difference, even if you don't live in Delhi.
That's great.
Yeah, we'll be right back after a short break. It feels like what we're seeing in Delhi is almost like a warning for other rapidly growing cities around the world. Like the choices we're making today about transportation, energy, and how our cities grow,
Right.
those all directly impact air quality
Yeah.
and the health of our communities.
It's absolutely.
It's kind of like a ripple effect.
It really is. And what's happening in Delhi isn't unique.
Right.
Lots of cities, especially in developing countries, are facing similar challenges
Yeah.
as they urbanize and industrialize.
So what can these cities learn from what's happening in Delhi?
Well, I think the key is to prioritize sustainable development from the start.
Right.
That means thinking about the environment in every aspect of planning and policy making.
So it's not just about economic growth,
No.
but making sure that growth is environmentally responsible.
Exactly. It's about striking that balance.
Really?
Investing in clean energy infrastructure early on is crucial.
Right.
And we need to be encouraging alternatives to driving alone.
Yeah.
Public transportation, cycling, even walking.
And we've talked about the importance of green spaces, too.
Yes.
Parks, trees, urban forests.
All those.
They can make a huge difference when it comes to air quality.
They're not just pretty to look at.
Right.
They actually act as natural air filters.
I love that.
They absorb pollutants,
Yeah.
release oxygen.
Nature providing the solutions, we just need to be smart enough to use them.
Absolutely.
Okay, so back to our listeners.
Okay.
What can we do, even if we don't live in a city like Delhi,
Yeah.
to be part of the solution?
Well, knowledge is power.
Right.
Start by learning about the air quality in your own city.
Okay.
What are the main sources of pollution in your area?
Yeah.
Are there similar problems brewing?
It's so easy to go about our day and not really think about the air we breathe.
I know.
We kind of take clean air for granted,
Hmm.
but it's essential for our health.
Absolutely.
So once you're informed, you can start to advocate for change.
Right.
Okay, so what does that look like?
Well, support policies and initiatives that promote clean energy,
Okay.
sustainable transportation,
Right.
responsible urban planning.
So things like contacting your local representatives
Exactly.
to express your support for clean energy projects.
Yeah.
Pushing for better public transportation in your city.
Yeah.
Things that feel a little out of our control,
Yeah.
but actually aren't.
You could also make conscious choices in your own life.
Like what?
How often do you drive alone?
Yeah.
Could you use public transportation?
Right.
Bike. Walk more often.
And supporting businesses that make sustainability a priority.
Yes.
Sometimes it feels like those little things don't matter,
I know.
but they really do add up.
They do.
And don't underestimate the power of just talking about these issues with friends and family.
Right.
Raising awareness can inspire action.
I love that point. Sharing information.
Yeah.
Starting conversations.
Yeah.
It creates that ripple effect.
I like that.
More people become aware of the problem,
Right?
then more people want to be part of the solution.
Diving deep into this research has been eye-opening,
I do.
but also inspiring.
I agree.
The situation in Delhi is serious,
It is.
but it also shows that we have the power to make a difference.
Absolutely. The solutions are out there.
Okay.
We have the technology, the knowledge.
Yeah?
Now we just need the collective will to act.
Well said. Clean air isn't a luxury. No, it's a fundamental human right.
It is.
We all need to play a part
Yes.
in making sure future generations can breathe freely and live healthy lives.
Absolutely. We're all interconnected.
Right.
What happens in one part of the world can affect us all.
Yeah.
So whether you live in Delhi
Yeah.
or halfway across the globe, your actions matter.
That's a powerful message to leave our listeners with.
I hope so.
So we've unpacked the complexities of Delhi's air pollution crisis,
But yeah.
the far-reaching consequences,
Mhm.
and the solutions that offer hope.
Right.
But now it's over to you, our listeners.
Yes.
What will you do to make a difference?
I'm excited to see.
We've provided the information,
Mhm.
the tools,
Yep.
and hopefully the inspiration.
Yes.
Now it's time to take action.
Let's do it.
Stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged. Together we can create a world where everyone can breathe easy. Before we wrap up, I keep thinking about something you said earlier.
Okay.
About Delhi's experience
Mhm.
being a cautionary tale for other rapidly growing cities.
It is what's happening in Delhi.
Yeah.
It isn't some isolated incident.
Right.
Many cities, especially in developing nations,
Yeah.
they're going through those same rapid changes.
Right.
Urbanization, industrialization.
Yeah.
It's a recipe for similar challenges.
So what can these cities learn from what Delhi's going through?
One of the biggest takeaways, I think,
Yeah.
is that sustainable development needs to be a priority right from the get-go.
Right. It can't be an afterthought.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They need to think about environmental impacts
Yeah.
in every single aspect of their city planning and policies.
So not just chasing economic growth,
Right.
but making sure that growth is done in a way that's responsible
Yeah,
and doesn't trash the environment.
you got it.
Yeah.
It's about finding that balance.
Finding that balance.
Investing in clean energy infrastructure early on is key.
Yeah.
And promoting public transportation.
Okay.
Cycling, making it easier for people to walk instead of relying on cars.
Right.
Those are all crucial steps.
And we've talked about the impact of green spaces.
Right.
Parks, trees, those urban forests that some cities are creating.
All of it.
Yeah, they play a big role too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're not just there to look pretty.
Right.
Green spaces act like natural air filters,
Yeah.
absorbing pollutants and releasing oxygen back into the environment.
It's almost like nature is offering us solutions.
It is.
And we just need to be smart enough to implement them.
We do.
It's incredible how much we can learn from the natural world.
It is. And learning from the mistakes of others is crucial too.
Yeah.
Delhi's situation
Yeah.
is a stark reminder that ignoring the environmental impact of our choices
Right.
can have devastating effects.
Yeah.
We're talking about impacting people's health,
Right.
their quality of life.
Yeah. And it's not just individuals who suffer.
Right.
It's society as a whole.
Right.
We've seen how air pollution puts a strain on healthcare systems.
Yes.
Disrupts economy
Uh-huh.
and damages the environment.
It's a wake-up call for all of us.
It is.
We need to act now,
Yeah.
not later, to prevent other cities from going down the same path.
This has been a fascinating deep dive.
It has.
We started with the science,
Yeah.
then the human impact,
Right.
and finally the solutions that offer a glimmer of hope.
It's been a really thought-provoking conversation,
It has.
and I hope our listeners will come away from this with a sense of urgency,
Yeah.
a commitment to doing something, anything to help.
Because we've shown that there are opportunities,
Right,
things
yeah.
we can do,
Yeah.
both big and small,
Yeah.
to turn things around.
Absolutely.
The future of our cities.
Yes.
Really, the future of our planet.
Right.
Depends on the choices we're making right now.
I agree. So let's choose wisely.
Let's choose wisely.
Let's make clean air,
Yeah.
sustainable development,
Yeah.
healthy future for everyone our top priorities.
Well, that's a wrap on today's deep dive.
Great.
Thanks for joining us on this journey.
Thank you.
And remember, stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.
Absolutely.
Together, we can make a difference.